Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Ohemaa. I feel like I'm talking too fast. Let me slow it down a little bit, okay? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Ohemaa. Welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, hey! So for today's video, we are going to be taking a look at brush sets for beginners, okay? Because I do get a lot of questions on what brushes that you're using. What is a good brush set for me to use? For a beginner, it is ideal for you to buy a brush set that you're going to be able to use for your face, your eyes, and anything in between. So today we're going to be taking a look at a BH Cosmetics brush set, or at least one of the brush sets, because they have a few brush sets. And we're going to take it through an eyeshadow routine, probably a skin routine. I'm going to show you what each of those brushes can be used for. That way, if you're interested in that, you can check that out.
They tried, now we didn't care at all.
So we got a box in from BH Cosmetics, and this is the Weekend Vibes collection. And in that collection, there is a Weekend Vibes brunch bunch. It comes with 11 pieces of brushes, and also there is the avocado toast. It's a 16 color shadow palette, and it is gorgeous. I really like the color story in this. Avocado vibes, right? Brunch bunch comes in a clear plastic. Each of those brushes are individually wrapped, and some of them have the brush net or the brush guard on it. I like the fact that even though they named the brushes, they didn't give you like eyeshadow brush or foundation brush or whatever. They call it either a buffer or a shader brush. That way you know that you can use each brush for multiple things.
Take me back to those easy summer days.
I'm gonna start out with the number 4 brush. Okay, and this is the mini buffer brush. This brush is like a really it's a really good size, very soft. You can use it to blend out your eyeshadow base, or you can use it to blend out the concealer under your eyes, okay? In the same set, there is the number 8, which is a large tapered blending brush. This is also a very soft blending brush, just like the other BH Cosmetic brush I have, which you can also use to either blend out eyeshadow, or you can use it to blend out your eyeshadow base. I think I'm gonna use this to blend out my eyeshadow base.
When we stopped at nothing, babe.
So the large tapered brush really blended out very, very nicely, and also very, very quickly. And it's still very, very soft. Because the base that I use, it's not a creamy base, the brush is actually still dry, and I can actually go in and use this to blend out my eyeshadow. Next, I am gonna go in with number 5. And number 5 is a large shader brush. Now, shader brushes are supposed to be used to essentially blend the edges of things out. Number 7 is the angled shader brush, and number 6 is the small shader brush. Okay, so the shader brushes are essentially the more compact looking brushes that have almost an oval tip, except this one is an angled one, and they're very compact, so it makes it very easy for you to blend under your eyes with. I like using the shader brushes because they help you pick up enough shadow and be able to pack it on. You tap it in and it just stays where you put it, okay? So I'm taking our avocado toast palette. Okay, I'm going into the shade Pit, and I'm going to stamp it in to the crease, and I'm just gonna blend the edges of this out a bit. So like I said, you can use the shader brush to blend the edges of your shadows out, okay? Or you can use it to pack in your shadows. I'm next gonna take the short shader brush, which is the smaller version of that brush that I showed you. I'm going into the shade Guac, and I'm gonna put Guac right here. Short shader brushes are also very, very good for packing in shadow because they pick up the right amount of shadow and they stay on the brush, and all you have to do is just stamp it on. Okay, they're also very, very good for applying shadow under your eyes, especially the small ones, because you pick up your shadow like this and you just blend under your eyes. But I'm gonna use this short shader to pack in the color.
Yeah, was it too easy?
So at this point, I can't blend out the top part of this with the short shader because it is too small and it's not gonna blend it out very well. You don't want that, okay? You want a blending brush or an eyeshadow blending brush that's going to blow out your crease colors and also your transition shade. That's where the number 8 brush comes back into the fold. Now, if you had 2 of these, of course, you would use one to blend out your base, and then you would use one to blend out your shadow. The thing with the base that I use today is it dries down pretty fast, so I don't need a second one. I can use the same brush and blend out the edges of this eyeshadow. You want to use a blending brush because the blending brushes are bigger and they distribute the colors that you put on much easily. You can also use them to pick up the shadow and blend it, or if you did what I did where you have 2 different brushes, you can just use a clean brush to blend the edges out. That way you're not like making the shades too intense, okay?
They couldn't take us, they couldn't change.
I mean, did you see how easily the blending brush like mixed these 2 colors together to where it was like, it was just very easy, okay? If I had used the short shader brush, I just wouldn't have been able to blow it out beautifully. And if I had used the shader brush, it would have just packed on too much color. Okay, so I went back in with that large shader brush and I'm gonna use it to blend the edges of the first shade we put down. Because it is a large brush, it can be used to blend out your shadows. As long as, I feel like as long as you don't go back in and get more, it can blend it out beautifully for you. And it was already blended out and I just need to go over it just like that. Like, that is literally all I wanted to do. Okay, 3 brushes created this one look.
Much easier than, or like that.
So in the Weekend Brunch Bunch collection, there is an angled buffer brush. Now, they don't call it foundation brush because you can also use this for like something completely different that's not foundation related, okay? And they call it a buffer brush. I'm gonna take the buffer brush and I'm gonna use that to blend in my foundation.
Nothing, baby.
Now, when you're using a brush to blend out your foundation, you don't want to flick it, because if you flick it, it can just flick it right off your face and get on your clothes or your surroundings. So you try to pat it in as you're moving along, okay? Or you can glide it, as long as it's not like a very fluid foundation like the one I'm using right now, which is very fluid. I'm gonna pinch it and get around my eyeshadow because I don't want it to ruin the eyeshadow. Okay, so I'm gonna take the brush number 4, which is a mini buffer brush, and like I said, you can use this for your eyeshadow base or you can use it for your concealer. And I'm gonna use it for the concealer under my eyes because of how dense it is. It's not gonna take the concealer away from my face. So if you want more coverage under your eyes, definitely use a brush, and this brush is perfect for it, and it won't blow it out too much. Do you see how quickly it blended in the concealer? And you can still see the concealer under my eyes.
Yeah, we stopped at nothing, baby.
So next we have the number 3 brush, defined as a blush brush. However, you don't have to use a brush specifically for what it says or what it says on the name or what it says it's used for. You can use it for something else that matches your purposes. Now for me, I'm gonna use the brush first as a powder setting brush or a setting brush. I'm gonna use it to set my concealer, and then I'm also gonna use it for the blush brush that it's intended to be used for. Okay, so I'm tapping into my setting powder, and after I tap it in, I go ahead and I shake off the excess, and then I go in and start setting. Brushes can pick up a lot of powder, so you want to be very careful how much powder you're putting on. And I also tend to drop powders on my shirt, so wearing this white shirt is not ideal for this brush demo. But as you can see, the brush works beautifully as a powder brush, right? So I'm taking the brush number 1, which is a round powder brush. Of course, you can use this essentially for anything else. I'm using it as a blush brush because I like how big it is, and you know, essentially it goes exactly where I want it to go. I don't necessarily set my whole face, so I'm not going to use it for that. If you're someone who does the powder before foundation method, you could definitely go ahead and use this for your what is it called, you could definitely go ahead and use this for, you know, to set your face with a powder before you go in with your foundation. The blushes, I feel like they could be a little bit deeper. Right now it seems like it's too pale for me.
Nothing, baby. They couldn't take us.
So in this particular brush set, you actually get 3 shader brushes. I generally use shader brushes for my lower eyelids because they are compact enough and small enough and dense enough to pick up enough of the eyeshadow to go under your eyes without blowing it up everywhere. Okay, it's more of a controlled brush. Okay, I'm taking the angled shader brush, and I can also use the small shader brush. Okay, I just want to be able to show you guys that you can use multiple brushes for multiple reasons, or you can use one brush for multiple reasons. Okay, so I'm taking the angled shader brush, I'm going into the shade Holy Moly, and I'm gonna place Holy Moly under my eye. Wow, this BH palette is intense. It has some intense colors in it. Okay, so there are 3 brushes left that I have not touched, and these are the 3 brushes that are left that I haven't used yet. Now these 3 brushes are number 6, number 10, and number 11. Number 11 is a liner brush, number 10 is a round crease brush, and number 9 is small tapered blending brush. Now these 2 brushes are very good for if you want to just put a crease color. Let's say you want to do a cut crease and you have a deeper shade that you want to put on top of it. You can use number 9 and 10 for inside your crease to blend your color. That way the color stays exactly where you want it to stay. Or you can use number 9 for your crease and the color will stay exactly where you want it to stay. Number 11 is a liner brush. Now this kind of a liner brush is not so you can do like thin precise eyeliners. This is for if you wanted to do like a smoky eyeliner look. Because of how small it is, you can use that to smoke out your eyeliner. I also like using small pencil brushes like this for when I have to place color inside my crease or inside my cut crease because I don't want it to be messy. I use this to place the color exactly where I want it to go, or you know, anything precise that you want to do, you can use this brush. You don't necessarily need to use it for an eyeliner, okay? For me, I like to use a blending brush for my nose contour. I am taking the brush number 10, and this is the round crease brush. I am gonna take some of my contour, my nose contour shade, which is from this palette, the JP palette, and I'm going to do this. I like using brushes like this because they're very small and they fit exactly where I need it to go, and that way I don't make a mistake. I use this shade to contour my nose, and I use these 2 to contour the rest of my face. Okay, I'm taking the brush number... I'm taking brush number 9, which is the small tapered blending brush. I'm gonna use it to apply some highlighter to my brow bone. Once again, I like using the smaller brushes for the smaller things. I'm not gonna use the same brush that I use to apply like my setting powder, to apply my highlighter, right? I call it pencil brush, but it's actually called a liner brush. I am gonna use to apply some shimmer shade on the inner parts of my eye. If I had done like a cut crease, I would have used the same liner brush to apply the shimmer shades into that cut crease, or a matte shade or whatever, because it helps you control exactly where you're putting your shades. And if you're somebody who's new to cut creases, you want a more precise brush to apply your shades into your cut crease. I am gonna use it to apply some of that shimmer shade in my inner corner. I'm taking the shade Extra because it matches the green on my eyes, and I'm gonna apply some of that shimmer shade right in here. If it wasn't because I was using such a small brush, it wouldn't be so controlled. It would go everywhere and it would not be as controlled, okay? So that's why you need a liner brush for, which I call a pencil brush. I don't know why I call it a pencil brush, but if you ever hear me say pencil brush, I mean a liner brush.
Yeah, we had one of those things.
Okay guys, so this is my finished look, and we used a box of brushes. We were able to do our foundation, our concealer, setting powder, our eyeshadow, our entire eyeshadow, using a box of brushes. The only catch is you're gonna have to wash your brushes at least once a week, because you're not gonna have like a ton of brushes to, you know, go through. I know that BH Cosmetics has brush cleaners, or like dry brush cleaners, that you can use like after every use, and then hopefully after every few days or at the end of the week you can go ahead and do a proper cleaning with some soap and some water and, you know, all that good stuff. I will highly recommend that you pick up this brunch bunch if you are somebody who's in the market for brushes and you don't know which ones to get, because the BH Cosmetics brushes are very soft. As you saw, they blend it out very, very easily. Besides the blush palette, everything I used was perfect. So let me know down below in the comments if you have any questions, and also let me know what you want to see next in our beginner series. Once again, my name is Ohemaa. If you are new here, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, and also subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Take me back to those easy summer days when we stopped at nothing, babe. Yeah, we stopped at nothing, baby. They couldn't take us, they couldn't change us, they couldn't catch us if they tried. Now we didn't care at all about winter or spring or fall.